What's up, guys? Manny Wichlinski here, the Consummate Athlete, TSSathletics.com. I'm just sitting at home, lazy Sunday, relaxing a bit, in between workouts, trying to find ways for myself or other people to activate, get moving, do something while they're at home, in between workouts, in between the gym. You're just at home. What can you do while you're at home to make yourself better? Now, if you're trying to develop strength and athleticism, there's a few muscle groups that are actually much more important than others. It's great to have strong forearms, strong grip strength, very important. Your calves, that helps, but it's not nearly as important as, say, your abs and your ass. Your abdominal muscles, your glutes, probably the most important groups of muscles when developing real strength and athleticism, because they really control your hip function. Now, your glutes are basically the largest muscle group in the body, extremely powerful, and you're trying to think about how does that help me? Well, the abs really do a lot to control the function of the hips, as well as the glutes. And if you're looking at building athleticism, a lot of sprinting, running, jumping, hitting, it really has a lot to do with the way you extend your hips. So if you're jumping, that's hip extension. So you're going from here to here. You really got to get strong there. Best way is going to be like squatting and deadlifting. But if you're looking at running, there's a lot of hip hyperextension. So jumping might just be here to here, but sprinting is also here to there. So you need some hip hyperextension as well, and that's what really helps propel you horizontally, whereas hip extension propels you vertically. So we've got to get some of that in. What can we do at home? Just a couple simple exercises. We're going to work on to strengthen the abs, strengthen the butt. This isn't all you need to do. Get to the gym and do your real work, but this is just to give you an idea, one or two things to help. We'll work on a stretch or two and an activation and strengthening exercise or two. So some of my favorites: one, to stretch the front side, the hip flexors. You're watching TV, just get up on the couch, put one leg back, right here, hip flexor stretch. Squeeze your butt, push your hips forward, open this up as much as possible. As you push here, you're going to feel a huge stretch through your hams, or through your quad, through your hip flexors, and up to your abs. And you'll just kind of mobilize. You can get one arm up, around, squeeze your hips, push forward. You can reset yourself, lean forward, and squeeze in, and everything all the way up. It's really going to open up. If you have tightness here, it tends to cause pain and injuries in maybe the knee and low back. So you really want to get that mobilized and stretched out. Come the other way. You can think about 30 seconds, 40 seconds each side, but really you want to focus on just spending some time and giving that area enough time to just relax and release any tension that you might be carrying. As an athlete, you don't want to carry around any extra unnecessary tension. The only tension that you should have is the tension that you are producing on your own free will, like through an exercise. But you shouldn't walk around tight and stiff and carrying this extra tension and stress. You want to be as relaxed as possible, like a sleeping cat, okay? So next, for the back side, once you get that, we'll come right here. One leg down, bring the other leg over, and I'll just sit down into it, grab this leg, boom. And now I'm going to really get the back side. So I already got the front side, stretching from my quads up through my abs. Now I get my glutes. I'm going to grab this knee and really pull that into my armpit. Oh, this gets the back side so good. This whole entire area. I'll just focus on my breathing. Really deep breaths. Good idea just to think about 10 deep breaths. And as you go through your breathing, focus on that. Don't focus on here. You can't really increase the intensity to force yourself to release that. Just focus on your breathing and try to release that tension and allow it to happen. It's kind of like tenderizing meat. You put some meat in a slow cooker and you just cook it for hours and it starts to tenderize and soften. You can't rush that. You can't just cook it on high heat for a couple minutes, jack the intensity up and expect the meat to be nice and soft and tender. You have to spend time. So it's just going to take time if you're tight, and work on it, day after day after day, just keep working on it. Eventually that'll start to release that tension in those areas. Come the other way, down here, knee over there, sit down into it. Oh, this whole back side, oh man. Looks kind of like yoga class, but I get to chill on my couch and feel a little bit more comfortable. Watch some tube, doing something while you're doing nothing. Okay, so you'll spend some time on both of those. Now to activate, one of the best things you can do is planks. With no equipment, just sitting here. But most people do them wrong. Most people just kind of relax their abs and they see how long they can hold a plank. And by doing so, they relax those muscles as much as possible so they can do a plank longer. It shouldn't be about doing a plank longer, for a longer period of time. It should be activating those muscles to peak tension. And if you're doing it right, doing a plank for 30 seconds is going to be extremely challenging. What most people do is, let's see if we can see, look at the hips. They'll just go into like this pelvic tilt where their belly kind of hangs. There's a big arch in the low back. We want to eliminate that arch as much as possible. So you actually want to squeeze your hips forward and flatten your low back out. So you're actually trying to tuck your tail under, flex your quads, flex your butt, flex your abs. You should have peak tension in all these muscles, from your gut to your butt and even your quads. You can pretend I'm on the floor here, and I don't care if you're, here. But what you don't want is that arch in your back. You want to squeeze that out and try and even think about like doing a crunch and pulling your elbows to your knees and drive through the floor and activate all those muscles as much as possible for peak tension. I like doing Superman planks. So we'll come right here. Again, you're trying to squeeze your butt, activate your quads. Your abs are all as rock solid as possible. Try and pull your hip flexors up into your ribs down into your hips. Work on that. Everything is super tight. What we're not doing is finding that arch. So do planks the right way. 30 seconds will be very challenging. You don't want to look like a wet noodle. You want to look like a strong bridge. And speaking of bridges at home, fantastic. You can do them on the floor for like a hip thrust or a bridge. Just come on your couch, squeeze, boom. Come down. You can do 2 legs. You can do 1 leg at a time. And really focus on getting that extension and squeezing as much as possible. Most of the hip extension exercises are done standing, like squatting and deadlifting, or in this position here. But to go into hip hyperextension, a lot of times it's best to do it either supine, where you're laying on the floor, or some exercise like that, laying on the floor face up or face down. For example, it's hard to load these exercises without equipment. Maybe if you had someone pushing down on your foot, but if you could get focused and get that bodybuilder mind where you're just thinking about squeezing the muscle and activating the muscle as hard as possible. Don't just go through the reps, but squeeze those glutes and push up, and you get an extreme contraction in your glutes. I know it's funny, but you're at home. That's why we're doing this here and not doing it in the gym while everyone's looking at you. But you can imagine doing that and having, a partner push down on your foot and giving you a little bit of manual resistance. So I call those donkey kicks. You can call them quadruped, hip hyperextensions, whatever you want to do. So you've got those couple of mobility drills. The couch stretch to get the front side. We've got the yoga deal to get the back side. You have planks done the right way for peak tension in the gut, and then you have your bridging and hip thrust for the glute activation. Do that in between, get yourself ready, get your ass to the gym, lift some big weights. Peace. Oh, one more thing. You guys like the new t-shirts? Check them out. Check out the link below. Support us, Consummate Athlete t-shirts. See you soon. Chest up, chest up.
Got it. Push.
Squeeze your glutes at the top.